Hi, Dave.
Yeah, hi, Fred.
How you doing?
Good. So we are joined by Sarah Lagos this evening.
Yeah, yeah,
She's really done a great job as being the chair of the Santa Rosa Lab.
yeah. That's what I understand.
But her major claim to fame for us is that she's the director of philanthropy at SRJC.
Yes, yeah. She's got a good alma mater too.
So she managed to survive both the Santa Rosa City Council and the Board of Supervisors. So she must be doing.
Yeah, trial by fire.
Yep. And by delay. By delay. This was 2 months, really 3 months after it should have happened.
Are you kidding?
Nope, because her term supposedly began August 1st.
Huh,
Here it is, mid October,
huh.
and I was appointed or reappointed in mid July, so my term began on time.
I don't know why they take so long to get those things processed.
Well, it's an example of the rat's ass rule. They just don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's another universal axiom.
Yeah, I had to help blast the thing loose by pulling Chris Corsi aside from a political meeting and saying, please do something. Please appoint people. And he said, I'll take care of this right now. And he pulled out his cell phone and sent an email to his staff person about it, which I think may have helped break the logjam. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, you never know. I mean, sometimes it's like the very last little, kernel that needs to be planted on the, it's just sometimes this takes a certain mass to build up, when it
I
reaches
know it.
that. So that's why I always encourage people to, like to vote their minds, even if they think that it's not worth it, because it's, you never know when it's going to turn your vote or your presentation might turn things around.
Yeah.
It's been almost a year since I first met you.
Yeah. Time flies.
It was, yeah, that was some rainstorm going on that week too.
Yeah. I remember you were having trouble getting here.
Yeah. Well, they're thinking it might rain next week, but I'm
Hope so.
not sure it's going to be like that one was. It'd be good if it rained that hard, but knock on wood, we haven't had any serious fires in the area this year.
Yep, that is true. Plus, now we have so many fire engines and other equipment pre-positioned around likely fire spots that
Yeah.
I think we'll probably skate like we did last year.
Well, the county hired for all the areas that are under the county's jurisdiction, they hired a new a fire coordinator, and he's done a really good job in getting controlled burns done in areas that were at high risk, and making a lot of changes within each of the all the respective volunteer and non-volunteer fire departments in the county. And I that attribute a lot of the change to this guy's efforts, and I hope they continue to pay off. But he's really been somebody the last year or so kind of has gone around and done a lot, and it's one of those unnoticed um, influence makers, that really make a big change in the society, and no one really knows that they're out there.
So what was his name again?
I'm not a good one on that. I'm
You
never,
know what he
never
did,
been,
but you don't know who he is.
yeah, yeah.
That's okay.
And if I see his name, I'll remember who he is. But I'm always one of those people that likes to rely on the written word rather than my memory on stuff.
Yeah.
I think. The agenda's pretty short today.
Well, you notice the closed session,
Yeah.
so you don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah. It won't be that long.
Hey, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Barbara's there somewhere.
Hi there. Good evening.
Hopefully, it will be a good evening. Hey, Tom.
Oh, he's muted still.
Yeah. Hey, there's Deborah.
Hi there.
Good evening.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chilly this morning.
It was, but beautiful evening. Let me just say that.
Yes, it is.
Good evening, all.
Hey, Jeff. Erica.
Hello.
I see Commissioner Parker. All right, it's 6 o'clock, but we're going to wait for just a minute. Most of us are here. I think we're all here. All right. Welcome all. Thank you for coming. It's beautiful here in Sonoma County this evening. October's a busy month. We're celebrating all kinds of things. We're celebrating Hispanic, Latinx Heritage Month still. It's also LGBTQ plus History Month and has been. I think we've been celebrating that worldwide since 1994. I was surprised to find that. And our library is collecting and archiving and amplifying the hard work of the Sonoma County community in that area. Yesterday was Coming Out Day, and so we applaud those who have taken that step. But it's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Crime Prevention Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Day is this month, and also it's National Apple Month, which is important to Sonoma County. And we're also delighted to welcome a new commissioner tonight, who represents jointly the County of Sonoma and the City of Santa Rosa. Sarah Lagos is joining us tonight. And I've got a bio for her. She's a Chicago native. Sarah has enjoyed living in Sonoma County for the last decade. She's spent her 20+ year career working in higher education fundraising and passionately believes in supporting students to support their dreams and pursue their dreams. As the director of philanthropy at Santa Rosa Junior College Foundation, she is honored to be the bridge between those who find themselves in need of help and those that can help. Sarah's the proud cheerleader, taxi driver, social calendar organizing mom to a high-energy 7-year-old daughter, Emma, who loves soccer, baseball, Girl Scouts, gymnastics, and climbing trees. And I'm not sure that's in that order, right? She's lucky to be supported by an amazing husband, Rick, who gives her time to pursue her personal passions like helping libraries. When she's not working or momming, she can be found reading, running with the dog, which she actually hates, or eating cookies. Sarah holds a master's in public service management and a bachelor's in psychology from DePaul University. Welcome, Sarah, truly. And let me take the roll so we can officially call the meeting to order. And then I'd love you to say a few words if you'd like to.
Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
So with that, let me take the roll and then we can listen to Sarah. David Cahill.
Here.
Andy Elkin.
Here.
Fred Engbarth.
Here.
Paul Heavenridge.
Here.
Tom Hauser.
Here.
Sarah Lagos.
Here.
Barbara McKenzie.
Here.
Rachel Parker.
Here.
And I'm here too. Okay. Now, Sarah, do give us a few remarks and welcome again.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to join you. As you probably heard from my bio, I'm a parent, a mom. I work at SRJC, but I've also been able to be the chair of the Library Advisory Board for Santa Rosa for the last 4 years. So my very first job was in my local library in the south suburb of Palos Hills outside of Chicago. And I've loved libraries ever since. So I'm really excited to be part of the commission, joining you in this important work and supporting the libraries. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Anybody have any comments? And I can't see any hands. So, all right, then we'll just march right into the meeting. But welcome. Let's see. Pursuant to California Code Section 54953, all votes during this teleconference meeting will be taken by roll call. And let's see, did I forget to? I think that's it. All right. Any public comments? Any public appearances?
There were no public comments received via email or regular mail.
Super. Thank you, Lisa. All right.
And I do not see any hands raised.
Okay, then we will move into the business of the day. Item 4, action items by resolution. We've got one, a resolution establishing the need to hold teleconference meetings due to the proclaimed state of emergency. And so we vote on this every month, and we look forward to the time when we can meet in person. So I will call the roll in support of this resolution to hold the teleconference meeting. Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin.
Yes,
Commissioner.
and Chair Doyle, I'm sorry, can I just apologize to you and the commission? I'm having trouble logging in from my computer, which is why I'm appearing to you by phone. And don't have access to the usual functionality, but I'm going to keep trying.
Well, sing out if you need something.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Commissioner Engbarth,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Here, yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker.
Yes.
All right, I will make it unanimous. And now we have a branch presentation from the Central Santa Rosa Library.
Hi, everyone. Let me get my screen shared.
And do introduce yourself to the commission.
Right.
I'll say partly because we have a new commissioner, but partly because the rest of us want to hear it also.
Yes. All righty. Everybody can see my slides? Okay. So good evening, Chair Doyle. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for taking the time to be here this evening. My name is Jessica Romero, and I will be giving you a general overview of what we have been up to at the Central Santa Rosa Library. And I'm the branch manager here, by the way. First up, staff introductions. Central Santa Rosa Library is led by a group of 4. Myself as branch manager, adult services supervisor, Roxana Garcia, youth services supervisor, Jessica Hoover, and supervising library specialist, Marcos Soriano. Pictured here are some group photos of the central staff, including extra help staff, whom we love and claim as our own. Fully staffed, Central has 31 staff members. Recently, we have had many staff promote, so we are currently working on filling our last few vacancies. Central Santa Rosa Library is located at 211 East Street on the corner of 4th and East Street. The library was established in Santa Rosa in 1859. In 1904, a Carnegie Foundation grant allowed for a new building to be built on its current site. The building is 61,800 square feet and houses a 1,762 square foot forum room. We are also home to adult literacy offices, a boardroom, a children's room, and a basement where we have staff cubicles, closed stacks, friends of the Santa Rosa Library headquarters, and our IT servers for the entire system. The beautiful Carnegie building was damaged in the 1906 earthquake, and though it was repaired, more space was needed. A new building was built in the 1960s, designed by architect Francis Joseph McCarthy. That building still stands today. Fun fact, the stone walls used in our current building are original to the Carnegie building. Pictured here is the cornerstone of the original Carnegie building, and the central reading room as pictured in 1967. You can learn more about the history of Central Santa Rosa Library by visiting the History and Genealogy Library next door, but they will be highlighted in a different presentation. Let's talk demographics. The total Santa Rosa population is 176,938. Santa Rosa is the most diverse community in Sonoma County, with approximately 46% of the community being BIPOC, which we acknowledge and represent with our programming and material selections. Central was the only Santa Rosa library for years, but Santa Rosa now has 4 libraries that provide excellent service throughout Santa Rosa: Central Santa Rosa Library, Northwest Santa Rosa Library, Rincon Valley Regional Library, and Roseland Regional Library. There is a significant amount of patron crossover between the branches, and as we are the only library currently open on Sunday, we get crossover from all of Sonoma County. On Sunday, we generally average close to 100 visitors an hour. Let's talk Portrait of Sonoma. The American Human Development Index is a composite measure of well-being and access to opportunity made up of health, education, and earnings indicators. The index is expressed on a scale of 0 to 10. The Human Development Index for downtown Santa Rosa is 4.32, which is not the lowest, but it is in the bottom 10. What is the library role in improving the Human Development Index? We provide access. Aside from our numerous collections, online and in-house, we offer programming that will often promote health, career advancement, and education. We also have the library services as listed above that the community uses every day. or rather not above on this slide. I would like to take a moment to highlight E Street Studios. E Street Studios offers digital audio and video equipment and instruction to our patrons. They can also check out a variety of digital camera equipment and take classes to learn more about digital and audio production and post-production. This is all run by the amazing Bridget Hayes, who is the SCL Digital Literacy Specialist. Again, this is all free to the public. It is an amazing privilege to be able to offer resources like E Street Studios at the Central Library. Statistics, things that I want to highlight in this slide. We have the most amount of computer sessions in all of Sonoma County Library, 17,764 sessions from January 2022 to August 2022. We also have a lot of people coming into our library. We have a total of 40,088 library card holders, which is also the most in all of Sonoma County libraries. Special thanks to Marcos Soriano and his circulation team, Alexandria, Jonathan, Luis, Lisa, Jude, and Gray for helping to process so many of those cards. And to Wendy, Lisa, Carol Lee, David, Rolf, Lexi, and Bryce. Thank you for processing all those holds and putting all those books away. From January to August, we have had 130 events with 4,584 participants. Programming started slowly at the beginning of the year as we all became accustomed to our new normal. We are currently hosting 3 regular story times a week, baby story time with Miss Kate, and a morning and evening bilingual toddler story time with Miss Kelly, in addition to 2 to 3 special programs a month. All coordinated and organized by Jessica Hoover and her team, Kelly, Kate, Javier, Emily, and Shannon. Our teen librarian, Javier, has been busy with programming too. He makes the Central Teen area a welcoming place for all of our teens. Some of his more recent programs include organizing a display that showcases the history of the LGBTQ community in Sonoma County, and a folklorico dance workshop. Our adult services team is not far behind. Led by Roxana Garcia, Steve, Simone, Freddie, Destiny, and Mara have recently collaborated to host the Dave Rocha Jazz Trio, Trio Nuevo Amanecer, and Crafting with Creative Bug events. They also hold regular monthly book clubs with a Spanish language book club coming soon. Community engagement and outreach is also so important. We want to take the library to the community if they can't come to us. Pictured on this slide are 2 events we attended this year: the South Park Day and Night Festival and the 52nd Annual MLK and Juneteenth Festival. Our Santa Rosa Friends of the Library. We have a unique Friends of the Library group because though they work out of the Central Library basement, they actually serve all 4 Santa Rosa libraries, and they do it so well. We are grateful for the 4+ book sales that they put on every year because they are instrumental in helping us provide even more services and library materials to our community. We are also lucky to be able to work with our amazing and dynamic Santa Rosa Library Advisory Board. Our board serves all 4 Santa Rosa libraries and will soon have a few vacancies. It's a great way to get involved in our community for all that are interested. Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Barbara.
Thank you, Jessica. That was very interesting. Appreciate all the history and the details. I had a couple of questions. One about the lab, your last slide there. I did notice that there are just even one less person who is now Sarah. Welcome, Sarah, on the lab. And could you just give us a little information of the lab? My understanding represents all of the Santa Rosa libraries. And is there a recruitment process through all the other Santa Rosa libraries? Where do you meet? You know, kind of what is the activity of the lab, and just kind of how I'm just struck that there would be just now 1, 2, 3 people on the lab.
So right now, all four of the Santa Rosa libraries who we have currently all recently started, we are going to start meeting to try and talk about how we can recruit members to the lab. But the lab essentially is there to help us support the library and the community. So they're a voice of the community so that we can reflect the community needs in the library.
Does it meet? Does it always meet in Central, the lab?
No, right now we're currently meeting on Zoom.
Oh, you're meeting on Zoom? Okay. In the old days before COVID, did it?
We rotated to each branch. So every branch we rotated around to. So one meeting was Central, the next meeting was Rincon, the next meeting with Northwest, the next meeting was Roseland.
Gotcha. Thank you, Sarah. Former president. And then I just had one more question, please. What are the issues that you're facing at Central with the unhoused community?
So with the downtown Santa Rosa Library, there is a large population of the unhoused community, but while there are some incidents with the unhoused community, for the most part, they're part of the library just like anybody else. The library is for everyone, and we welcome them. And I make sure that I make an effort to get to know them, to learn their names, because we really want to make sure that it's not that they're not, they don't feel unwelcome in our library.
I was curious because when I first started the commission, there were big bushes around the forum room, and there were a lot of people sleeping around there. There were requests to have lockers in the library, a safe place to keep materials and so forth. So I'm glad that there aren't any, that, things seem to be fine, I guess, in that regard. Yeah, thank you. Thanks very much for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Other questions for Jessica? Don't be shy. We appreciate your coming, Jessica.
I'll just say one thing, Jessica. I had a small group come through, and Jessica was just wonderful. It was on a Saturday, and I learned things about the library I didn't know. So these little tours are really effective for the community. This is supposed to be for the Fijian community, and we only had a few people, but because of that, I know they in their newsletter, they talked all about it. And I wish there was some way to track, because I'm sure we got more people coming to the library now. So thank you for doing that for us.
Thank you, of course. Thank you for having me, and it was a pleasure to see all of you tonight.
I've got a couple of questions if nobody else has a question. How do your numbers, we appreciate the numbers for this year, but how are they comparing, say, to the year before COVID? Are you halfway there? I mean, electronically, I'm sure you've got many more users, but it's always a good thing for us to hear where we are in terms of reaching out to the community and they're reaching into us.
Yeah, so I'm about 7.5 months into my position, but as far as I know, we are not at our pre-COVID numbers quite yet. But the library is being used in different ways, we're seeing. And so we're trying to adapt to that with the amount of programming that we're offering, in terms of, we do a lot of virtual programs now, and they are very well attended. I believe that there was a Spanish conversation club that we had that had 36 attendees that for a virtual program was very, very good.
Okay. And in terms of you're the ones who are open on Sunday, and since we're about to launch, what kind of programs are they interested in? You said that you're finding people you're welcoming people from all over the county, but is it a lot of kids? Is it a lot of, just sort of people who are trying to get out of the sun?
I think on Sundays, it's a lot of families. Our children's area is very full on Sundays, and we get a lot of just the general public with the last minute homework assignments and things like that. So it's honestly a mixture. We get a little bit of everything on Sundays. And it's really nice to see. It's the 4 hours that we're open is busy the entire time.
And one final question. Because you have multiple spaces in Santa Rosa, how does the staff decide on the programming centrally, and then all of the branches, you kind of divide that up, or do you think about sort of what Santa Rosa needs and then parse it out in terms of the population? Or
So
and then
actually-
do you also talk to OMT? Do you also talk to management to see what's going on in the other branches?
For the most part, we attempt to talk to each other, but the branches are run individually by different branch managers for each branch. So they all have their children's team and their adult services team. So each branch chooses programming that they believe will be effective for their community. And that's kind of how we kind of divided. We do reach out to each other if we need a little extra help, or we need a little bit of extra support. For example, we recently did a large school visit to the library at Central, and we had someone from, I believe it was Northwest, forgive me if I'm wrong, come out and help us out with the class visit. And then Rosalind has also come out and helped us with class visits. So we try and collaborate with each other as best as we can, but ultimately we individually choose programming that we think would fit best for our community. I hope that answers that question.
You did. You did. Thanks very much. Any other questions for Jessica? Andy.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Jessica, thanks so much. A really terrific presentation. I enjoyed it very much. I had a question about one of the slides you went over kind of quickly, and it was from the Portrait of Sonoma County report that looked at the AHI? And I remember reading in that report, Santa Rosa had extraordinary diversity in terms of how the city as a whole ranged from some of the highest scores in the county to some of the lowest. And I'm just curious in terms of what you see at Central versus at the other 4 branches. Are you personally at your branch serving that whole wide range of folks from the most advantaged to the least?
I think so. I can't speak really for the other branches because I manage the Central Library branch, but we do get a variety of different people from different, backgrounds. We, like I mentioned, we have a unsheltered population, but we do have, kids and parents that, they're well off, and, they come into the library, they use the library in the same way, and just the general library users. So I think we get a mixture for sure, especially since we have a lot of crossover between branches.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing to serve a diverse clientele.
Yeah.
And I was glad to hear you give a shout out to Freddie. We miss him in Healdsburg, but our loss is your gain.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Great. I don't see any other hands up, so thank you so much, Jessica. Much appreciated.
Okay, thank you guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Always a pleasure to hear what they're doing. All right. Item 6, Library Advisory Boards, Foundation, the Friends of the Library. Do we have any comments from any friends or from the foundation? Mr. Palmer.
Chair Doyle, commissioners, thanks very much for this time on the agenda. I bring greetings from Sarah Ortiz, President, and Vice President Chris Faley from the foundation. Chris will be at the commission meeting in November to give an update and an orientation in terms of the campaign launch that will follow a week after that meeting. But for right now, what I bring from the foundation is personal invitation to the commissioners, all of you by now will have received a save the date card for the campaign launch on November 10th. Hoping that those of you who are feeling comfortable these days about coming to public events would come. In a couple of days, you're going to get an invitation in the mail. There's a couple of reasons for that. Obviously, we want to have our leadership in the room and be able to thank everyone. But everything about this event is being organized, we hope, with a great deal of strategic care. It's not an open seating event. Everybody's assigned a table, and even at the table, everybody's assigned a seat, so that those tables become microcosms of the county. So there'll be an education person, a donor prospect type, a community leader, and every table needs a host. And at some point in the program, Erica is going to make 5 or 10 minutes available for those tables to visit among themselves and hear how folks around the table like their libraries, use their libraries, could use their libraries. And we need a host to get those conversations started. So the commissioners who are able to come, members of the foundation board, possibly some other folks, will serve as those hosts. So I know the foundation would very dearly love you to come. This is going to be a gathering of Eagles, and all of you folks know other Eagles. So there's still a day or two. If you have great key people you'd like to see there, send us their names. We'll send them an invitation, and together we'll start to build this thing forward. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Mr. Palmer. Anybody have any questions, comments? Okay. Super. All right, then we're going to move into library reports. Director Tavoe, do you want
Good
to
evening.
go for it?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome, Sarah. We're so grateful to have you. I'm going on vacation soon, but when I get back, we should probably have a meeting and talk. As you all know, we have decided to streamline our reporting procedures for the monthly report. So there is some duplication, and we're still working through some of the terminology that we're using. You'll see in our report that we have Library Report October when it's really August. So hopefully by next month, all of these things will be worked out. The big news, as everyone knows, is the Sunday hours, and we are, very confident that we are going to be able to open on November 6th, that we are going to be doing a soft media push in mid-October next week or the week after to get the news out. We do expect that the first couple Sundays will be quiet, but having worked in libraries that were open on Sunday, I can tell you that they are very popular. And as Jessica said, it is predominantly families. So I know that it might be a little quiet in the beginning, but we do think that it will pick up steam. And we also know it's the holidays, and that does also have a little bit of an effect on our attendance. But we think it's a good time to open. We have a lot of new staff starting, and they are getting trained, but it will be nice to have that, be that period of time where it's not as busy, so that they can kind of solidify their knowledge about our processes. So that's really exciting. One of the things that I attended last month, I saw that Commissioner McKenzie also attended, was our Immersive Dome. That was also at Central Library. And I know we'll be traveling to some of the other Santa Rosa branches as well, just so that you all understand the materials in the East Street Studios and the Immersive Dome was all purchased using PEG funds from the city of Santa Rosa. So those items can only be circulated among the Santa Rosa branches. But we're already talking about ways to get some of those materials in our other locations. We also had our staff day recently, and I know that several of you attended. Chair Doyle, Commissioner Engbarth, and and Commissioner McKenzie, I want to thank you all for attending, and I hope you had a wonderful time. We certainly did, and I'm hopeful that next year we can be in person. So, any questions? Commissioner
McKenzie.
Yes, thank you. As always, I really appreciate your thorough reports, Interim Director Tavoe. And I had two questions. One actually is a comment when you were talking about the Sunday hours. A lot of times our labs have been kind of looking for things to do. When we were able to start opening on Mondays a few years ago, our lab had a table in the lobby of the Roanoke Park library and handed out goodies and pens and welcome people, and it was kind of a nice role for the labs. I wanted to suggest it for when we open on Sundays, but I'm uncertain when that would be appropriate. If we're doing kind of a soft opening, we don't want people sitting around, nothing, nobody's coming in. and, wondering if you're about your suggestions for, what a good Sunday, to possibly do that would be. That's just my first question.
Okay, no, I actually think that's a great idea. Maybe we can talk to our events team and figure out if there's some, special way we can commemorate our first Sunday, or maybe, we identify another day. I do think that, we will, like I said, we are going to have some press on this, as well as some social media. So I don't think it's going to be a completely quiet Sunday for the first day. And I do also expect that Central Library will be, because they have traditionally been the one branch open on Sundays, that, we're going to ask their staff to let their patrons know that the other libraries are also open as well. So we do expect to see a decrease in the amount of people over time that go to Central on Sundays as the patrons find out about their local branches being open.
Great. Well, I'll take this up with our lab, and I know all the labs are, more or less independent of each other, but we'll see if we can get a good date and do something like that. It was really fun. Makes you really feel connected to the library operations and so forth. My other comment was I thank you, because I'm always bringing up the library leases, and I appreciate your section in here about library leases. For a new commissioner and for new staff, and people might not know it. When the new JPA went into effect, and 8 years ago in August, so it's been 8 years plus a couple of months, a requirement is that we have leases with all of our libraries, and for all kinds of reasons, we still don't have them with all the libraries. And it is again, an important aspect of the joint powers agreeing under the JPA. And so I'm just going to, continue to bring it up until we get that in place, because it's just so important, especially as we go into sprucing up our branches and, spending our money on capital issues and so forth, that we do this in a consistent and reasonably equitable, fair manner. And so the leases and the requirements of the jurisdictions and the requirements of the obligations of the library system, it's very, very clear to spell those out. So anyway, thank you very much for staying on that issue. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Commissioner Mackenzie, since you have served on the leases committee, that we have, that the staff has been working on that ever since we all got here. So Commissioner Engbarth.
Yes, just wanting to build off of what Barbara and Erica have been talking about. I'm thinking on the opening of the Sunday hours, since this is a direct result of Measure Y funding, and we're getting ready sometime in the future to start going for Measure Y funds or equivalent. I think it would be good to link that money from Measure Y into whatever we're presenting at the openings of the Sunday hours, so that people see the connection between Measure Y money and what they're getting out of the libraries on the extra hours. So that's all. Just
Commissioner Elkin.
Erica, thanks as usual for a great report. I had a question kind of following up on the lines of the question that Chair Doyle had for Jessica Romero, and that's system-wide. I mean, it's great to see that we're continuing to increase the the number of visits and checkouts and so on, but year over year. But I'm wondering if you have a sense of where we are relative to where we were pre-pandemic. Are we back there or not yet?
I think we're getting there. We slowly transitioned from all virtual programming to a combination of virtual and in-person to more in-person. I think we are getting there. I know, when we consider the collection services report that we saw last month, we are, when you take all of our circulation combined, including our digital media circ, we're very close to pre-pandemic levels. So I think with this expansion in Sunday hours, that we're going to get there very soon.
That's great. Thanks so much.
Great. We should sing about that when that happens. I see no other hands. Any public comment? I know I don't think we have any. Has anybody joined us from the public? Okay. I don't see any. And is there any staff comments on the budget and finance report for August 2022?
Myrna? You mean?
Yeah, if there is none, then I will move on. It's pretty self-explanatory. But if Myrna, if you would like to say something.
Well, I don't want to belabor the point. It was the first quarter. The one thing that just did want to bring to your attention is that the $500,000 of the grant for the new Roseland Regional Library in September has been moved to the appropriate new fund for that. And that's the only major change that you'll see in the Finance Committee coming up next week.
Super, thank you. Any comments from the commissioners about the financial report? Okay. Moving on then to commission and liaison reports. Does anybody have any changes or additions to their commission reports? All right. Then we will move to the committee and liaison reports. Commissioner Elkin, do you want to expand on your financial report, your finance committee report, or?
Well, thank you, Chair Doyle. I'll just say briefly that as usual, Lisa did a great job of capturing the notes on some fairly complicated questions and issues. And I'd like to give a shout out to Myrna because in the little preface and summary that she wrote before the finance report, she addressed many of the questions that we had as a finance committee. So I think that her words there, it's only a page, but it addresses just about all the questions and concerns we had. So thanks for doing that, Myrna, and nothing else to add about the Finance Committee.
Super. I don't have anything to add about the Historic Records Commission meeting. Commissioner Hauser, anything from the foundation report? I'm not hearing anything. So
I don't have anything to add. The important thing is the MOU with the foundation has been agreed by both sides and it's in effect right now. And it's in writing. It's really a great move forward. Yes, it does provide clapping from everybody. A lot of hard work to get there.
Congratulations. And it's going to be an interesting ride, I think.
Learning experience.
It is. It's going to be a learning experience. Let's see. And so we've made you have all seen the task force report. We're making progress with the recruiting project as well. So moving on to library advisory board appointments. Commissioner Elkin, do you want to?
Thank you very much, Chair Doyle. Yes, I'd like to say just a few words about Paul Grill, who has served on the lab for several years and who is seeking reappointment. Paul has lived in this area for a long time. He started over 40 years ago an equipment rental business, which has prospered and is now the 86th largest rental concern in the whole country. Certainly a credit to him. But he's been a long time supporter of the library. He did serve for a time as the Healdsburg commissioner on the Library Commission and has been back on the lab for the last few years, he brings a very independent perspective and voice to the lab, and I would welcome his continued service in that capacity.
All right. Let's see, we need to vote on this. So,
I see Barbara has a hand up.
oh, sorry, Commissioner McKenzie, I didn't see your hand.
That's all right. I just popped it up. Just briefly, I want to say about Paul Grill. When we tried to have Measure M committee up and running for the tax measure the first time, Paul Grill joined the Measure M committee, stepped right up, and he said, "You don't have any signs up." And so he got all of his business folks at trucks and paid for a bunch of signs himself, and was very, very active and put his heart and soul into trying to get the first tax measure passed. So I wanted to give him a shout out for that. Our history gets lost pretty quick. So that was 8 years ago. But anyway, Paul and his energy, he did all he could to get that first tax measure passed. So compliments to Paul.
He was also instrumental in getting Y passed. He was on the committee. I arrived in Sonoma County just as you all were working on that, and Paul was terrific. He was very strategic, and so I'm glad that he's coming back on the lab, and hope that perhaps when there's a campaign, he will be working on that. Commissioner Heavenridge.
Yeah, so I just like to say I worked with Paul when he was a commissioner, and besides, I really liked his first name. I liked him as a person, and he brought a different perspective. I mean, we all have our individual voice on the commission, but I appreciated Paul's for being logical and really being a good voice of the commission and the library system when we're going through a difficult time. So I'm glad to see Paul still involved. So I will heartily vote for him.
Okay.
When the vote comes up.
Seeing no other hands, I will call the roll. Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin.
Yes.
Commissioner Engbarth.
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge. I know you're saying yes, Paul. Commissioner Heavenridge.
Sorry, yes. Sorry.
Commissioner Hauser.
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner Parker.
Yes.
And I will make it unanimous. Fabulous. Welcome back, Paul.
Chair, Chair Doyle.
Yes.
Did somebody make a motion and second? Did I miss that whole thing?
Yes, nobody made it.
Yes,
Okay.
nobody made it. It was mental. Would
I
anybody
will
like
move-
to make a motion?
I will move to have Paul on the lab.
So sorry. And I'm going to say that Commissioner Elkin is seconding that.
I will second. I was kind of leading up to that, but I did
I know
not.
you
So
were.
thanks for catching us. Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you,
And
Paul.
I suppose I have to call the roll again, don't I?
Yes.
Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Elkin,
Yes.
Engbarth,
Yes.
Heavenridge,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Lagos,
Yes.
McKenzie,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
and Doyle. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, Lisa, for keeping us honest. Let's see. All right. The next item is our consent calendar. These matters include routine financial administrative actions that may be approved by consensus. Any commission member or member of the public may request that an item be removed from the calendar and have it placed with the action items. The commission will approve the minutes of the prior meeting in summary format. Does anybody wish either one of these items to be removed? Commissioner McKenzie. Commissioner
Muted.
McKenzie, oh, did you lower your hand? Okay. Then,
I'll move approval of the consent calendar consisting of the minutes for the September 7, 2022 regular
I'll
meeting
second.
and the amended MOU between Sonoma County Public Library Foundation and Sonoma County Library.
who is
I'll
the second?
second that too.
Paul? Is that Paul?
That's
Yes.
me.
Okay, thank you. All right, then any comments? I don't think so. All right, then I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Engbarth,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
I'm voting yes, but something happened in my comment about making an adjustment to the minutes. So did you not hear me on that?
We didn't hear
No,
you.
we didn't hear you. Your hand was up and then it was down and you didn't say anything.
My mouth was moving. Apologies.
Ah.
About you. I'll let it go. Thank you. I'll vote yes.
Okay. Commissioner Parker?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner McKenzie and Commissioner and me. Okay, I'll make it unanimous. Thank you. Then we are moving to our action items. All right, the proposed new library director total compensation package has been something, as you will recall, we have been, staff has been looking at the various salary levels and things like that. So this is just the result of that. This doesn't necessarily have to do, it has to do with our search only because it's information that we need. But Suzanne, do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I can briefly speak to the matter. So we had previously prepared a director total compensation package, and this package is we believe that it will entice the ability to recruit and attract a director that will have a package that's slightly better than the other. It's competitive with directors that are other library directors, and it involves a little bit more management leave, a car allowance, and a match to the 401k that other library employees do not have. It cleans up some of the language that was with the previous library director benefit package, and the language is more streamlined. So in order for us to recruit and post the recruitment, we wanted to get this put before the commission so that it can be approved. The salary is not a factor at this time because we just increased the range prior to previous director Hammond leaving the library. So that is.
Thank you, Suzanne. And mostly this is cleaning up and bringing it up to current competitive standards. Does anybody have any comments on that? Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes, just for clarification purposes, this would be a general question. When it says under employment benefits, under pension, Classic is 2.5% at 55, PEPRA 2% at 62. Suzanne, I believe that what that means is if you've a candidate coming into the library system who had worked prior to this in a PERS situation would be covered under the Classic, and if they hadn't, they would come in under PEPRA. That's one of my questions.
If the candidate had come from another system prior to 2013 and worked for another library system, they would be a Classic member. And if they had not had any PERS service, then they would come in as a PEPRA member. So and if they had reciprocity from another library system, then they could be considered under a Classic.
Right. I just wanted to clarify that because there is a difference in the retirement benefit.
Yes, there is.
And then on the sick leave on the second page, it says 96 hours annually, no cap. That means no cap on accrual, I'm assuming, and some of that is payable upon leaving.
Yes, and it just depends how the employee leaves. Some of it can be cashed out into service credit, and some of if they retire, some of it can be cashed out into service credits. But if they resign, then some of it is just 25% of it can be paid out.
Great, thank you.
And that gets pretty complicated, so I just didn't want to get into all the details. Right. And when a director gets hired on, they basically have an employment contract that is negotiated with the library. So there's a lot of benefits that are subject to creating an employment contract that's negotiated. And
right.
it is under a lot of legalese, so we just didn't want to get into all of that. So it was just,
Right.
it's never really put into a posting.
Right. Some of
Great,
it is
thanks.
just pretty specific. And then I just wondered about that. And then very lastly, in the last paragraph under the relocation allowance, I noticed that we're offering pay equal to 1 month's temporary housing, not to exceed $5,000. Is that a new benefit? Is that typical in executive recruiting?
That did not change from what we offered previously.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thanks.
Mr.
appreciate it.
Hauser.
This is being pushed forward right at this particular moment, so we have it ready for our search for our new director. And I want
Yes.
to emphasize that that's the impetus behind the vote tonight on this package. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay,
I will make a motion to approve.
A
thank
second.
you. Thank you, Commissioner Cahill. All right, Commissioner Cahill, that's a yes. Commissioner Elkin,
Yes.
Commissioner Engbarth,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and I'll make it unanimous. Okay, our next action item is the budget adjustment. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yes. Let me get to that item. Sorry, let me pull it up on my screen because I can't click on your screen. So
It's a minor adjustment, but
yes, and I apologize that we continue to come back to you with these off cycle. But we have had some changes in the in the library, and with the moving of a part-time library associate in collection services, we recognize that there's no longer a need for some of those duties. We do realize that with the Sunday hours, there will be, a need for some additional delivery services, and also some of the Link Plus services and the ILL. Well, the interlibrary loan was discontinued in July 2020. While the collection services staff is still supporting AMH, if we hired a delivery driver, we would no longer need those services. So the idea is to fill a delivery driver FTE, and then they can fill those needs. So that's one of the ideas. My trainer, beloved Kyle, is leaving and he is relocating back east. So we reevaluated some of those needs in our department, and we believe that IT could help with that circulation training. And then I'm evaluating some of the needs in my department. I believe that I need some additional assistance doing, investigations, training, and other needs. So I would like to, and after conversing with the union, we believe that by giving them, it's always a negotiations thing, by giving the union a position, which would be the IT position, then I could gain another position that is confidential in the HR department. And then the Roseland library position that was 0.5, it has been very difficult to recruit a half-time librarian position. As you know, the cost of living is very difficult here, and we've not been able to fill that position. So we would like to increase the FTE by 0.5 to recruit that position. And we realize there is some level of a salary impact, but that is if we hired all these positions at step 10, which we do not do. So.
Yeah, if I could just add a little bit to what Suzanne was saying, the
Sure.
Roseland position, it wasn't that we had a problem finding a half-time librarian, it was we had a problem finding a bilingual librarian, which we really need in Roseland. And the only way that we can fill that position is to make it a full-time position, to make it more enticing.
Thank you, Erica. I left that out.
Commissioner Elkin, you have a question.
Yeah, I just have one question. What you're saying about the bilingual librarian in Roseland, I totally understand. what I'm unclear on is the replacing the training and development specialist with the IT technician. You say this classification has been coordinating circulation training for the library in addition to orientation and other trainings. And then with 5 supervising library specialists throughout the system, IT will be assuming this role. I'm sorry, I'm just not clear on what that means. Are you saying that people from the IT department will now be providing circulation training? And if so, what is that?
So let me clarify that a little bit. So
Thank you.
So the supervising library specialists, they not only do some of the circulation training, they supervise library specialists. So that is their primary function. But when we have, so my trainer, as great as he was not, he's not a Horizon specialist. So he has been coordinating and developing this training, but really going beyond his means to actually implement the training, coordinate the staff, get everybody in place. And we really wanted to centralize this training and make it really an IT function. And I think that I might even draw Mike Daw in if he is on the call to help better clarify this, because while Kyle did a superb job of designing curriculum, by not being an IT specialist, I think that there was a few gaps. So he really put together a great curriculum, but IT could be better designed to deliver it. So now that we have we didn't have these supervising library specialists in all the branches before. And now that we do, we really have people to deliver it. Honestly, my trainer, who was an HR person who needed to be doing supervising skills and, the HR training, was running around coordinating IT training in all the branches. And so now that we have these supervising library specialists who know Horizon, who deal with Horizon, who deal with this every day, I believe need to be supervised and coordinated through the IT department. So if you're here and you might want to jump in and give a little bit more perspective on this.
Yes,
Thank you.
happy to. So for people that have been around the library for, in my case, many years, we used to have the circ trainer in IT. So the database that actually manages all of the circulation of materials, the public catalog, all that stuff, that is a position that lives in IT. I did that position for 15-ish years. I had a cohort in Denise Lures at the time, who was the de facto head of circulation. She coordinated all of the training. And what circulation training is, Andy, it's training the people on the front end, the specialists, how to use the system that we check out books, process fines and fees, fill holds, all that stuff. It's a system-wide application, and so we need to centralize the information going out. The easiest way to do that is to have one core trainer that oversees the entire thing. Also, by having that position back in IT, one of my long-term dreams and goals is to have a technology training program for staff. Having that position work closely with my group will help facilitate that sooner rather than later. Does that help answer your question?
Helps a lot, Mike. It was just not apparent to me what circulation training referred to, but given that it seems to be significantly technology based, makes sense to me. And if you're in support, I have no objections. Thank you, sir.
And I would like to add
very much so.
One of the things that we do get a lot of pushback with when we meet we do have a thing called LMC, Labor Management Committee, monthly, and one of the things that we have received a lot of pushback from the union on is that when we introduce technology, which we are doing by leaps and bounds, is that there's not enough advanced training and rollout. So, I mean, I think this will be a win-win on all bounds. And we did give the union advance notice, which I don't think I put in this in my report, but we did, and they were they did not want to meet and confer. They were on board with this. So I think it will be a success. it'll
Great.
probably be harder on me than Mike. So
Right. And I can also add that two of these positions, the collection services library associate reclass to delivery driver and this IT training person are also recommendations that the staffing study committee is making. So, it's also, we will give a full report on that when we are completely done with that.
Super. I don't see any other hands. Any other questions? One last, 3, 2, 1. Any last comments about the budget adjustment or questions?
I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
Please do.
I'll
I
second.
move that the Sonoma County Library Commission adopt the recommendation to add 1.75 full-time positions as described.
Great.
Second.
Fabulous. All right, I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Cahill,
Yes.
Commissioner Elkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Ringbarth,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavenridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser,
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Parker,
Yes.
and I will make it unanimous. Okay, thanks, everybody. We're going to move into closed session for a conference with our library negotiator. Okay. We are back and there was no reportable action at this time from our closed session. Which then brings us to agenda items for the future commission meetings. We are certainly going to be talking about the recruiting project. It is going to be moving forward and we'll give you a status report, but we're also going to be, the recruiting firm is going to be reaching out to commissioners and other folks about the search. And now that we have an additional member on the commission, I'll be confirming some committee appointments, some task force appointments, and hope that there will be even more commissioners with us either the next time or in December. Does anybody have any other things that they would like to add to the commission's agenda next time?
Chair Doyle, we have Commissioner McKenzie.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Thank you. Actually, what I had down was what you just said, which was about the confirmation of committee appointments.
Good.
But I'm wondering if I'm particularly very eager to have an ad hoc committee discuss our policy on posters and banners within the libraries. And I was wondering if you had that on your list of ad hoc committees.
I do have a ad hoc committee on policies, and I think that would be in there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the
Thanks.
only other item, will we continue to meet by Zoom until the state says we cannot do that anymore? Or I know most public agencies are back to meeting in public. I'm not pushing either way. I'm just wondering if we're going to have the discussion.
The last time we wanted to have it, there was a strong feeling that from some commissioners that they did not want to meet in person. And so we will take that around again. Personally, I think that we should be meeting in person, but it will depend on the commission. So, but we will we will be asking about certainly the December meeting.
Great. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? And I am not seeing. Seeing nothing. Goodness, Commissioner Lagos, you are a good luck charm. I don't believe that we have ever adjourned this early. Commissioner Hauser will be very happy.
Glad I could bring something to the table.
Thank you, Commissioner Lagos. We love you.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Lagos.
That's right. Welcome. All right. And may I have a move to adjourn?
I move it.
And do I have a second? All right. Commissioner Cahill.
Yes.
Commissioner Elkin.
Yes.
Commissioner Engbarth.
Yes.
Commissioner Evanridge.
Yes.
Commissioner Hauser.
Yes.
Commissioner Lagos.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner Parker.
Yes.
And I will make it unanimous. All right. Go out and enjoy the beautiful October. It's not very long before we're going to be gathering again. November 2nd. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye
Chair
now.
Doyle.
Good night.
Staff.
Good night, everyone.
Take
Good night.
care. Thanks, Erica. Thanks, Lisa.